Fiddle again, and hello, it's Fo, and welcome back to Turbine City. Last time we were getting in a whole bunch of these eco water outlets, trying to hopefully satisfy the entire city's need for sewage coverage. And get rid of the sand, now that the beach is out of the question here. Gonna get in a few types of trees. These smaller trees, we're going to get in a small sort of covering where we don't have any trees at all around our port area. Does look a little bare. As I say, I like covering. We can use some of the larger trees back up in towards the city around the higher points. Places again that look pretty bare, and there's gaps. We can go ahead and get in some zoning. Again, because we've got complaints still down in the lower half, below the canal towards the coast. They don't have enough workers. We're going to try to create more houses up here than workplaces. We'll get some commercial and offices in, but we'll try to occupy some of the space that we would use for commercial and offices with parks and services. A couple of things along this medium road. That'll minimise the jobs that we're creating. We obviously do want to create workplaces, but restore the balance between the houses and the workplaces. I think we can get residential in here. It's far enough away from the canal and the noise of the passing ferries. And offices are best at blocking in the noise, so if we've got offices between the residential and the canals, I think it's fine. Bit more office coverage in along this road, just because we've got a ferry stop. Create that barrier for the noise pollution before we get in with more residential. Again, I'm going to try and keep it neat. If there's any dodgy patches of zoning, well, there's ones, I'll try and chop them off. We want to fit in as many people as possible, but not at the cost of having horrible zoning. I'll try and keep it neat. As I say, chop off these little bits. And again, where we fill it back in with the light stuff, just tidy it up where we have to. Get up to maybe 850,000 before we have to go ahead and unlock the next tile. The space along the road next to the highway, we can leave that free for just now. Maybe we can pop in more services and things. Create this barrier so there's no noise coming from our ferry stop or anything down next to the canal. And again, try and overload it with houses just so there's enough population to try and occupy all these workspaces. As always, we don't want to get too close to the roundabout. So if there's people stopping, the traffic backs up, people pulling into their houses and stuff, or pulling into businesses. All these blocks filled up. We can get the simulation going. Get people coming in. Get a little bit of commercial in where we're getting close to the roundabout. Don't want the noise of the traffic bothering any light residential here. Sure, these guys are far enough away from the noise, so we'll get that changed over to a couple of shops as well. We'll let that go, see how they get on. And come back and fill in the rest of the zone in. Get the whole tile filled up. Let's see how much of our sewage treatment these outlets is going to cover. Well, it's shot up to the top, so we'll see when we remove some of our no pollutes. Get rid of a bunch of these, maybe replace a few where we've got nice nodes set up already. Some water pumps in there. Yeah, we might be able to get rid of all of the no pollutes. I think they're slightly wider, or they come out further than the water pumps. So using the old nodes is not necessarily the best idea. The pumps aren't going to stretch out all the way into the water. So yeah, we'll get a couple of pumps up. And balance out the water and the sewage availability. Try and get it far enough into the green. Can maybe take down the water budget back to 100%. Again, we're going to make sure the water level's going to stay up. Obviously, where we're removing all our no pollutes, it's taking water out of the river essentially. Add any water down here where we've balanced our canals. No, looks like they're flooding a little bit anyway. It's classic, they've waited for us to put in more zoning before they've decided they want to flood. Had the canal in for ages, and now it's deciding to have a problem with us. Never mind, it'll balance itself back out. Let it run, everything's balanced itself back out. The shape of this quayside is really annoying me. I'm going to tidy this up a bit. It wouldn't play the game with me when I was trying to pop it in. So I'm just going to use move it to sort of savagely force it into a better sort of shape. A little bit straighter. Move around a few of these outflows. And tidy this area up a little bit. Yeah, it's looking better already. Move a few of these and then get them connected up. Maintain the level we've got going on. We're still in the green, even though we're deleting a few. In theory, I think we could leave it like this. The sewage treatment is a little low, so maybe we add a couple back in. Try and rebuild this land and the quay along here. Where we're using move it, it's messing around with the land. get the key along to here, which should be enough. Get in 5 more outlets. That should balance our water and our sewage. Looking for a level that's going to future-proof us. So when we get housing and everything in the last 3 tiles, it's going to be enough. Going to get a few more garbage collectors in as well, just to try and minimize the damage we're doing to the environment. Stop our seawater looking ugly and brown. So we'll drop down a save at 830,000. Do some more zoning, fill up the rest of the tile. Create a little bit more of a barrier, just because we've got a ferry terminal nearby, a ferry stop. And again, we want to create a little barrier away from the barrier we've created. Filter down the noise before we can pop in some more residential. As I've said before, the high density residential doesn't seem to mind too much about the noise. The low density stuff definitely does. So when you're cramming everybody in right next to each other, you do want to sort of filter down the zoning. If you're having the high density commercial, you want a little bit of low density between it and the low density housing. Keep everyone happy and healthy. Yeah, as before, we've still got a few complaints coming from the commercial we've popped in, saying that they don't have enough workers. Obviously, we don't have any low-skilled workers available. We've only got highly skilled people. So everyone's instantly well educated by the Hadron Collider. Even given time, they still seem to be complaining. So it could be the case that we actually don't have enough workers to use up all the workspaces. I'm trying to really get in as much residential as possible. We get a little spattering of services in, sort of one of everything. To extend our coverage, make sure everybody's within range of all the death care, medical services, fire and police and etc. Pop a little path through here. We've got a perfect little gap. Yeah, we could come back at the end and pop paths in everywhere. It's definitely something we've sort of fallen behind on. There's plenty of spaces that I've left for a path at some point. Never come back and pop the path in. That's always something I can do towards the end. Minimize the traffic on the roads. It's a traffic sim after all. So I think we should definitely try and work on the traffic flow at some point and explore the traffic manager mod. Much like the demand master, you know, something that you would use to get out of a problem, but wouldn't necessarily use all the time. I tend to use it sometimes when I've got everything in, to increase the speed limits on the roads. I changed all the stop signs to yield signs. Again, that's usually only if my traffic flow has fallen below 70%. And now we're somewhere around 80, so maintain all the traffic lights off and switch everything for stop signs. Should keep the traffic flow about 80, and that's good enough. But towards the end, try and fix the industry's DLC areas. That'll help the traffic flow a bit, because that's where a lot of the congestion is. Yeah, we could look at the traffic manager mod. Get the stop signs switched for yield signs, etc. See if we can increase the traffic flow even further. Make things better for them. So I've got up to 845. I'm gonna have a look at a few cinematics. It's not something we've done for a while. You can check out the city from a different perspective. Can maybe show us anything we've got going on that we need to fix. I'm seeing traffic lights in a few of the shots. I thought we'd got all the traffic lights, but clearly not. This area is looking really nice, even with the sewage outflows. The view's still pretty good. I'm liking the foliage along the riverside. Certainly a better look than just the bare sort of riverside where the train's going down. I do prefer this look. I would prefer if the beach was more populated. I've only got a few people coming down here to this park. Maybe add a few more things at some point. We can get more people to visit. Liking these office buildings that are popping in, sort of making up for the lack of IT buildings, which are the big tall towers. They're usually looking good in the city. There's double traffic lights here. It's a disaster. Yeah, I definitely know that some of them are up above the canal. It's an area I thought we got covered. I definitely saw they were up here. So I'll go around this area. I thought I'd caught it, but obviously not. I think that's them all off now. Drop down a save for 850,000. Get back into having a look at some more cinematics. See if there's anything else we can spot. If there are more traffic lights, we'll see if there's somewhere obvious we can locate and turn them off. Walpole Square is looking really nice. View from there out to the sea. It's really good. As I say, these office buildings are really helping mix up the skyline for us. Our canal side areas are looking really good. A nice mix of shops and offices. Sort of glad we used the biggest canals, just giving plenty of room for the ferries going past. People are using the bridges to get around and over the canals. Looks pretty good. We've got another baseball game on. People are enjoying themselves. The beach is more of a seagull sanctuary at the moment. At least they're enjoying it. Some of these larger assets, it's great to see them from this perspective, like the Motherland Calls, the big statue, the Fells Aspect, our giant cat. Yeah, always love when they pop up in the cinematics. I'm glad we used this hub. And there's loads of people getting around the city and visiting all our big attractions. We need to get the bus lines in at some point to go connect up to this hub. kind of want to turn back on the day-night cycle. It's sad seeing the concerts happening during the day. Nobody must have had a good sleep in ages. Got a pedestrian pathway here that needs fixed. It's not connected to anything. Yeah, next time I make a map, I would keep the ship path further away from the edge of the play area. Yeah, more traffic lights. Even here next to our train station, where it should have been obvious. Should have noticed them before. Down here we've got a set of traffic lights next to what looked like traffic lights on the edge of a roundabout. That's like a crime, having two junctions so close to each other with the lights on. I'll drop down a save. I'm going to go around systematically, go around the entire city, and get rid of every single traffic light that remains. I'm giving you the highlights here, where I found sort of clusters that needed turned off. Yeah, I went round inch by inch, so I think I caught them all, but it was about 50 realistically that I had to turn off. So yeah, there was loads that I missed. For all the times I thought I'd got them all. Yeah, pedestrian overpass, we didn't really need to make them 24 meters above ground. Didn't need to go up twice to get over the highway really. It seemed more appropriate, considering we were going at 12 meters to get over the normal roads. I thought the highway overpasses should be taller. Yeah, it means we've got further to come down when we get over this side. So I think we're just going to wrap the path around the original pillar and come down at the back of the car park, using the smallest page up, page down of 3 meters. Try and control the descent. We can use move it to sort of tidy everything up. The slope when you're going 3 meters along and then 3 meters down obviously is fine and even. But when we've gone in 2 meter sections, it's created this sort of stepped effect. So we can use move it to move the nodes further apart. Try and make it a little bit smoother for them. And so it's going to be a bit higgledy-piggledy. Let's try and move this around. That looks a bit smoother. Yeah, we can move things around to get rid of that sort of stepped effect. How close we want the end of the path to be to the edge before we're clipping into this pole. Yeah, we can make it a slightly crazy shape if we want to try and get the best curve. It's not too bad. Certainly better than a path to nowhere. Maybe use the first person camera at some point to take a walk over there once people start using it. It'll have to be for next time. Run out of time for the day. Next time we probably want to unlock this tile. It's probably the easiest one to work with in terms of getting people into, getting all the road networks hooked up. We'll look at that next time. We'll come back and pick up where we left off. Until then, take it easy. I'll see you in the next one.